you ready? Could you give us the latest on Kai Havertz to Real Madrid?
Yeah, good morning. Well, this really seems to be being pushed from the Real Madrid side. I think there's a bit of a reluctance on Chelsea's part to let him go, but they want him to commit to a new contract. If that doesn't have no choice but to entertain offers. I'm a little bit perplexed by this, and I know I'll get stick from Chelsea fans because he's a bit of a cult hero, having scored the winner in that Champions League final against Manchester City. But I just don't see it when it comes to Kai Havertz. I don't see the attraction. I don't see what Real Madrid really see in him.
I've got to say, Crookie, I disagree with you, mate. I hear what you're saying, but I sympathise with him greatly because he's been played for me well, not even out of position, well out of position for the vast majority of last season. He's never a centre forward, absolutely never a centre forward. He's tried to play that role. He just keeps coming to the ball because that's his natural way he plays the game. He's a 10, he's a midfielder, and I think he's an extremely talented one. Definitely not a centre forward, mate.
No, we can agree on that one. And if it does happen and he ends up at the Bernabeu, then he may well make me eat my words. But certainly this is one to keep an eye on because Real Madrid actively pushing for this one.
Alex, I've got another Chelsea one. Apparently they're keen on Moises Caicedo. For God's sake, we're
just stripping Brighton of every player they've got, aren't we? That's what we do. It's terrible.
How likely is that one to go through?
I think it's quite likely, actually. Obviously, Arsenal with the team pushing in January, signed the new contract. And part of the reason that Brighton were determined to keep him then was they anticipated there would be more clubs at the table come the summer. I think that is the case because Arsenal are still lurking in the background. And Brighton's trump card might just be their interest in Levi Colwill. We know last week they had a £30 million bid rejected by Chelsea for the young defender. Mauricio Pochettino wants to keep him. But if they could somehow facilitate either a loan move or a part exchange deal involving Caicedo, I think then Brighton would be very open to that. We know that Alexis McAllister is likely to move on, probably to Liverpool. I think they're planning Brighton for the departure of Caicedo as well, and they already have replacements lined up.
I'm not surprised they already have replacements lined up. They're so good, aren't they? They're so good at recruitment. Good
they're
at
brilliant.
The future.
Arguably the best.
Good at holding on to them, getting the right prices, all sorts. I just hope Caicedo doesn't go to Chelsea because I'd love him at Arsenal. But if it meant that they get Declan Rice, who knows? Okay, James Milner on his way to the South Coast as well. I kind of thought that was done. Was it not? Is it now?
Well, obviously, the window doesn't officially open for 8 days, so nobody can officially move clubs until then. But Good point. This one pretty much is done. We're just waiting the official announcement. There was a bit of interest from Leeds, where Milner, of course, started his career. That would have been a bit of a fairy tale return for him, but they were relegated. So I think he wants to stay in the Premier League. And I think this could be a really good piece of business for Brighton. I know that Adam Lallana, former teammate of Milner's at Liverpool, has really been driving this one, telling him what a good club it is, what a good coach De Zerbi is. They've got a big season ahead, Brighton. It's going to be a summer of change when you talk about those key departures. They're going to have to build a squad to compete on multiple fronts because I think they want to have a really good go in Europe. They're in Europe for the first time in their history. And Milner will just bring that bit of experience to the dressing room, won't he? And listen, he's still a decent player. He's still fit as a fiddle, even in the veteran stage of his career. So I think this could be a really good signing for Brighton.
Crookie, talking about clubs, effectively cutting their cloth. I'd be keen for, obviously, Leicester fans will be very interested to see what's going to happen with their squad next season. Do you see them losing one or two, potentially Maddison, Tillman, boys like that?
I think Maddison definitely will go. The interest from Newcastle that started last summer has never really gone away. I think Ange Postecoglou is an admirer as well, so keep an eye on Tottenham maybe joining that particular race. And they did announce their retain list yesterday. Leicester, some big name departures. No real surprises in their departure list. The likes of Amati and Ryan Bertrand, who's just had a disastrous career at a King Power. And Yuri Tillemans, who's let his contract run down. Aston Villa, by all accounts, one of a number of Premier League clubs interested in him. But I think it's a gamble, Ali, because he's a good player. But he did sort of down tools last season.
He did, yeah.
That contract run down. He wasn't quite the same player. I think Leicester fans are entitled to feel a little bit shortchanged by Yuri Tillemans and his lack of efforts last season.
Right, I think one more, if you don't mind. Next manager at Leeds.
Well, Steven Gerrard's name is certainly in the frame for that job, and there is a connection, as Ali will know. His assistant, Gary McAllister, is a legend at Elland Road, so I think Leeds fans would certainly be appealed by the return of McAllister. I think they'll be divided when it comes to Steven Gerrard. Did really well in Scotland, didn't work out for him at Aston Villa, but there is an ongoing takeover as well. Looks like the 49ers are on the brink of completing that takeover, so I'd imagine there won't be too much movement on the managerial situation until they know who the new owners are, but there's some big decisions to make for those clubs who've gone down. We know that Russell Martin is going to be the new Southampton manager. They're just agreeing compensation with Swansea. There's a bit of a delay there because basically there's two amounts. One, if Russell Martin joins a Premier League club, and one if he joins a Championship team. Well, at the moment, Southampton are sort of in between the two. Swansea want the bigger amount because they say when you approached us, you were Premier League. Southampton are saying, well, we're Championship now, so we'll pay a bit less. That should be resolved shortly. Leicester, who were interested in Russell Martin, they need to make a decision on their permanent manager as well. Dean Smith having failed to keep them up, and obviously Leeds. So as well as the transfer window being a busy one, it's going to be a busy old managerial merry-go-round as well.
Gosh, it is, isn't it? Crookie, thank you very much.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods. Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.